I don't know.
And we're live.
I'm scrambling.
Good morning, Monday morning. Well,
Good
where we
morning,
are,
friend.
where I am, it's more morning than where Lila is. But good morning, good afternoon, good day.
Oh,
I don't
you
know
did a
how
Soul
it
Shine
is.
Sunday yesterday.
Oh yeah, it was off. It was free. It was my one free one I did all year, and it was epic, 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 epic. It was actually uh, some stuff we did for the earth. Uh, Cleared up a bunch of stuff for peeps. People was kind of crunchy. They came on and they were all everybody was in awareness of what was going on, and we did some stuff for Mommy Earth, and we had some fun. We had
I
a
was
lot of fun.
definitely crunchy yesterday.
Yeah, it was like, but it's been going on that's because of a lot of stuff that was going on. But uh I specifically, there we go. Now I can see you guys' beautiful faces over here. If you guys leave comments, just in case StreamYard is kind of slow on the response.
I keep
Uh
forgetting to open that. It opens on private chat for me, and
yeah.
I keep forgetting to change it.
I was trying to figure out share. Let me see if I share this to some peeps. No, share to groups.
We're talking about bodies today, friends.
Yes. Bodies, 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 bodies. What do you know
John's
about your
talking about
body?
how sexy our bodies are.
Oh, our sexy ass bodies. Who doesn't know about their sexy body? Uh,
This for me came out of this quote that you're a spiritual being having a human experience. And I feel like and the person who re remixed that quote, I guess I should say, um, was saying that we put more emphasis on the spiritual than we do on the human, but the literal reason that we're here in a body on the planet is the human part.
right.
And how our teachings often steer us away from the human part as if it's even possible to get away from that. And the hugest part about the human part is that you're in a body
Yeah. And most
and
people are
all of
not
the
even,
benefits and perks of being in a body.
yeah. A lot of people just don't really appreciate the gift of being embodied.
I'm one of those people.
You know, a lot of people look down on their body and they like curses, 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 which is
I
not
tend
true.
to ignore mine until she gets loud and opinionated. Good morning,
Yeah,
she stays.
but I think a lot of it also. I'm gonna be done right here. Trying to find one more group of wizards. What the hell? Okay. Hope I didn't do any other wrong groups. If so, sorry. Good morning, She Spies. I like She Spies. I missed you this weekend, Mama. Where you been? Anyway, um, our bodies. A lot of times, and I have an adorable, juicy body, but I've not always saw my body being that. And I have my moments that I don't. Yesterday, I was like more in love with my body. And I think that what happens with bodies, they get lots of judgments.
Mm.
Uh, I, what's up, Cedric? Tom, good morning. Uh, I can see you guys. It's not on this screen, but anyway, I'm fried this morning, so I'm a little bit frazzled, but not too frazzled. But talking about the bodies, uh, contribution, contribution. How many people are aware that the body is a contribution to the planet Earth? Yesterday in the class I was teaching, I was talking about that, about people not having the awareness of bodies being a contribution. And whenever the Earth is going awry, I perceive an energy that the Earth is asking for bodies to be different with each other and Earth. And it's this special that I watched on the airplane coming back from Chicago called Earth Storm on Netflix. It's a documentary. And in this documentary, it talked about how storms have become more ferocious. And what I realized is as the storms are becoming more ferocious, there's a lot of body amnesia and earth amnesia that's going on. And it's giving you a calling card. Like this is the segue. You should check it out. It's called Earth Storm. They were talking about how storms were at one point like hurricanes were traveling and tornadoes were traveling at the rate of like 175 miles out, 75 to 175 miles an hour. Now they're somewhere in a neighborhood of two something, almost 300. They've gone from being this big. Don't quote me exactly. Like say 3 miles to like 100 miles. And the concern about it is like what's happening. And I was watching and I was on the airplane, and sometimes you get turbulence on the plane, and I always pay attention to the small details. And so certain things are going to the plane to do it like more like this, and I'm like, okay, body, what are you talking about? And being connected to, I know people think I'm being weird, but I don't give a rusty, you know what, right now. It's Monday morning. And as I perceive this, I start perceiving the stuff that's going on with bodies right now. And I'm not just talking about the sexualness or sexual stuff that we throw on bodies. Climate change, no doubt, yes. But climate change because bodies have forgotten that they're connected to Earth. People don't even think that Earth is living. I think it's kind of interesting. So what happens is you got a lot of badass, spoiled ass kids on planet Earth right now, and we all participate in this. I'm not going to point any fingers at it. Yesterday, I talked about this. This is we our bodies are asking us to get out of judgment with everything. With everything. I wasn't going to go here, but I was going to go here because my body was perceiving something, Lila. I hope you don't beat me up for this. But my body was perceiving something around, and most people are like, "Oh, John, no, you don't say it." Or Kyrie Irving,
Oh, okay.
yay, and all this, and what my body start perceiving is how much wrongness we have with each other, how much control we're trying to do with each other, and how the body is bombarded by that. The only reason I say that is I was looking at a picture of Kyrie, and I was looking at his body and looking, and this dude's a real warrior right now because we lived in a country that you thought that you could be and say certain things, but you really don't. And what's happening is becoming more evident, and bodies are beginning to see it. See, what happens is that this is why it's time for people, to me, to think about waking up. What you will do to one individual, you'll do to others. What you think you can do to one group, you'll do to other groups. Bodies perceive that and they go into reaction of that. Yes, it's wrongness. And bodies don't like wrongness. They always want to be right. What if they could even let it go? See, here's the stuff that I'm gonna say about bodies that I'm really like. Once you start having a conversation, like I was up this morning, like I do my morning prayers and my meditation, like wee hours of the morning, because they wake me up and they ask me to come play. So I'm like, what the hell? Let's play. And there's a connection of oneness with the planets of getting still. Uh, I had a dear teacher. I call her teacher because I got to meet him. This teacher I just met one time. His name was Dick Gregory, and it was in Portland, Oregon. I was doing some African drumming when he was towing a presentation, and they asked me if I wanted to meet him. And so I got to go to the back room of this church in Northeast Portland. And I went back there and I was like, oh, excited because my mom and dad saw him at the Playboy Club back in the 60s. I was like, oh my God, Dick Gregory, he was civil rights and he did the Bahamian diet. I was like, oh my God. So I went in there and I always ask people that I admire one thing. I was like, if you could leave me with one nugget, one tool, and I'm talking about this guy because I'm gonna get to the point of what he told me and how bodies fit in, because he, during the civil rights, he actually left comedy and started doing civil rights stuff. And then he did in the 70s, he's really focused on African American bodies because he found out what was going on with their bodies, was creating this stuff. So I go back there. Dick Gregory's telling me something. So he's talking to the media and he's getting ready for his show and everything. And so he's like, everybody said, we're ready. We got about 10 minutes to get out front. So he turns to me, he grabs me on the shoulder. He looks at me, he says, hey, young blood. He said, just like this, young blood. God and fear cannot occupy the same space and time ever. Okay, let's go. And so I'm sitting there about to drum. I'm like, what the fuck? What was that? I was like, and so it's that stuck with me for my entire life. This is probably about 20 something years, 25 years ago that this occurred. And I I started to look at Dick Gregory as a person that, as a teacher about, then he did the Bahamian diet and the importance of understanding the oneness of the body. And he came up with this thing. He asked people to have this universal time where bodies linked together in the universe with Earth and other planets, and did a prayer for something positive change. It didn't have to be direct, but at that one time, people were in agreement to link energetically. And I realized that the Earth is requiring that of us right now, but we're ignoring it. There are more disease, more kidney disease is showing up, more what's my mom's disease, dementia.
Dementia.
All these things are plopping up on the planet, and we act like, oh, this is just interesting. But the question I have for people is, how aren't we preparing for being oneness with our bodies? Where have we forgotten and left our bodies behind? You
Do we
know,
have more kidney issues? Like,
we're having more right now. We're
I
having
feel like
more.
we're having more everything, but there is more of us.
Yeah, yeah. It was, yes, more of us. So here's my explanation of it. I do gardening. I love gardening, and I'm not reducing us to. And I see my brother Kevin's on here. What's up? Good morning, Kevin. He might understand this too. When the soil is not healthy, the fruit is not healthy.
Hmm.
When the soil is traumatized by anything that creates that trauma, the produce is traumatized. Cedric said something about global warming. I did gardening, and everybody I talked about gardening this year said it was weird. It's because planet Earth is traumatized. It's traumatized from all the madness, all the separation, all the limitation, all the hatred. You know, somebody needs to fucking flush the toilet on planet Earth with all this poo poo floating around here. And what's happening is bodies start to absorb that poo poo, but they don't allow this poo poo to shift in the earth so that it becomes a nutrient. It's just poo poo. I know I went there. I know that's crazy. But my whole point of what I'm saying is, when you start to play with bodies, you sense that. You start to really sense that bodies actually are. I'm beginning to realize, it's just my observation, it's nobody else, it's mine. Observing that all of the poo poo floating around the planet is being absorbed from the body. Now, poo poo has a possibility of shifting and becoming a nutrient, but it has to become a nutrient before it can be absorbed, or it's just toxins. And that's what I see on planet Earth all the time. And Earth is real patient. She's been here a long time before you and me, and we'll be here a long time after. If she really
Yeah.
flushes the toilet, we got a problem, Houston.
Houston, we have a lot of problems. So, the thing with dementia is twofold. The rise of dementia is
Mhm.
twofold, maybe multifold. We aren't living the way we were designed to be living. We're
Absolutely.
living in isolation.
Yes.
The amount of talking to myself I do, I'm definitely at risk for dementia. Um, but we're living in isolation. We're no longer living in community and connection. There is a lot about our standard American diet
Oh my
that
God.
is starving our brains.
Yes.
And then there is the general overall fuckery that is life on planet Earth that would make any brain go, nope, not interested, no thank you.
Yeah.
We have access to, like, back in the day when newspapers were your only access to the news,
Hmm.
I was getting the greater St. Louis metropolitan area news.
Hmm.
At best, I was getting West County, which is an hour away.
Yeah,
Maybe Chicago, because, big headlines, broad things. I do live at the bottom of the state of Illinois.
yeah,
But I wasn't finding out what's going on in Australia and the Ukraine and the UK. Like I was local news. We were
right.
local news. We are having access to global fear, global anger, global
Mhm.
outrage. And those are the things that get focused on. So, of course, that's setting up in our systems.
Yeah, and but I would also like to say that I think that as a this is my opinion. In Colorado, there's these this it's this in Colorado it's this aspen trees,
Hmm.
and they say they're one of the largest organisms on planet Earth because they stretch across like over to Canada and most of the western hemisphere of U.S. the states. And if a disease gets in there, it can actually affect all of those aspen trees.
Yeah.
Energetically, I think that so I agree. I think there's some things that have changed that I think two things have changed. I agree with you 100%. We're receiving a lot, but also the veil, this goes here, I go weird, getting weird on people, of this reality is slowly coming down. There's something shifting.
Yeah.
And the best way I can describe it, if I might go, people go with my goofy standards. In Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi was this great teacher of Luke Skywalker. And in the process of them trying to find Obi-Wan was hiding in a cave. And Luke found him and he said, I'm looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Obi-Wan Kenobi did not reveal himself yet. And he said he sat down when he met him and said, oh, I haven't heard that name in a long time. And then he sat down and he put his hand on his head. He's like, oh, some vibration in the universe is changing. I have had, I know that sounds crazy, Lila, but I've had this thing that with all of this, so with all of this, something is breaking loose, something is dying off, something new is starting. And it's just like when you go to Hawaii and you see this everlasting volcano that's creating this landmass, this is new land that's being developed. Now, it won't look like livable land for maybe a million years, but it's new land that you see being built. But you can't see that. You only know that if you go on one of the excursions and they tell you about it and you say, oh, wow, this is Hawaii and this is how the United States was developed one time. But in the beginning, it looks like hot, molten rock that you unlivable. What I'm perceiving now is that I think, and I think bodies are beginning to realize that. And it's like, I think that what you said, I think that a lot of people don't want to be here anymore energetically. I think that they get back and they live in there. And I think because what you said is very, 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 very true. They're being bombarded by hot topics of destruction. I'm going to call it lack of destruction.
Yeah.
But what about tapping into that and beyond that is the question I would ask people. And I'm just saying that because that's what I'm beginning to realize that I do with myself. Those moments that what if you didn't have to do anything with it? What if you just was like, okay. And I know that sounds weird. And a lot of people are like, well, what do you mean sit with this? But I'm like, as a parent, I would like my children to have certain experiences and certain pleasures and all of that. But if they don't choose that, I sit with it because in the past I would try to do something about it because not that I'm being rude, but everybody has their own vibration and their own rhythm that they step and walk and dance to. And I'm beginning to be aware of that, but Earth is still going to change with that. I was like, you certain things are not sustainable, like my brother said. You say so. Most people get upset with climate change is what I agree with. I say global warming. People get upset. Well, it's colder than fuck. Okay, the planet is changing radically. Do you think the bodies would change radically? Because most bodies, saying most, I want y'all to hear that, are made up of the same substance and percentages as Earth. Kind of question, kind of interesting. 2/3 of Earth is water, 2/3 of your body is water. Kind of fucking interesting. You know, moon cycles, periods that women have, follow that thing that's floating around planet Earth. Kind of interesting. So all I'm saying is, what would it take? And this is like yesterday. This is a preview little thing. That when we talked about bodies, I didn't think I was gonna go here, but what what calming and relaxing things can you do for your body that will actually be a dedication or a contribution to planet Earth? Because bodies are miracles. I'm just like so fucking amazed. And here's the piece about it. We've lost sight of being able to see beauty in everything, especially with our bodies, with our lips, the color of our skin, where hair grows, the craziness of some people's eyes. We just lost sight of that miracle of that body. And when you really go back, and I'm like going back to something, this is what happens when I wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, y'all. So I sit there and I lay and I think about something. I was a million to one sperm and made it up a canal and then locked in with this egg and became me. A million to one odds. I've won the lottery with this body this time. And I know that's weird as fuck for most people, but what if you could see the miracle of the creation the creator, the universe gave you with this body and the beauty of that body, with all of its sneezing, with all of its allergies, with all of its whatever the fuck it is? What if you could wake up and understand that body? Wow, a miracle being in your body. And that's like, when I say sexy bodies, I'm like, sexy bodies. You know, in this reality, there's this one sister that I follow on Instagram, and uh, she's a plus size sister, uh, and I'm amazed by how she walks through the world. I think it's her name is Danielle Creator, something like that, on Instagram. I'm always in awe of how she walks through the world with her body, and I'm like, that is sexiness. That is something. What's the word? To celebrate, celebrating that energy of you being that vibrant with your own body and not giving a fuck about the judgments projected towards it. And I know that
Mm.
it's a long time getting there for some people, but the reason I'm bringing that up is that I this week something spoke to me. This past week, something spoke to me about, we're not honoring our bodies. We're not. And I get it. I get it's hard. So, because sometimes you get amnesia because of what you said, sister, about all the fucking shit bombarded towards, like, am I a bad African American? Or do I hate all Jews? Do Catholics do this? Are Muslims all terrorists? All of this bullshit that we have going on planet Earth right now. What about just adoring the bodies that walk and populate this earth, and the magic that they all, that's the other, like, here's a little bullshit, like, imagination shit I have. All the bodies walking on the earth at this time, at this moment, decided to come together at this one time. I feel like I'm watching Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory. All of that, all of that. And what if it was all perfect as it is? And I think the times are changing that we're actually gonna fucking see that. I think so. Maybe not in this lifetime.
Maybe you're turning into a pumpkin.
Yeah. Poof! I'm an orange pumpkin. But I hope people get that. And if you guys didn't get it, if you want to have a deeper conversation, I'm interested. I think we'll do that. Uh,
Yeah, I'm
uh,
done. If um if you're one of those people who are feeling like you don't want to be here anymore,
Yeah.
reach out to me. Ask me how I got out of that.
Yes.
I'm happy to share.
Oh, and that's the piece about it. But that's the beauty of the body and like being able to transition to something different. And those who don't choose and choose to leave the planet too, no foul for me. I used to be like, oh no, you got it, you can't. I'm like, no, no, it is what it is.
Yeah, if you really want to just be held and heard, we are your people.
Yes, yes. But you please don't hesitate to reach out. How do they find you?
Here, if
Okay.
you're on YouTube, come find me on Facebook
Yeah,
because I don't use my YouTube very much. But if you're on Facebook,
yeah,
right here, if
and,
John hasn't tagged me, I'll
yeah.
pop a comment so you can
And
find me.
and I really it's hard for me to get through some of these platforms. Hit me up on my website www.beingjohnashford.com. That's where I like because I'll get an email from them saying, "Hey, somebody's trying to get you, you jerk. Pay attention."
Yeah.
Okay. You got anything going on this week that people need to know about?
No, nothing collective until January, but I am available for one-to-one work. So
Mm,
come on over.
how's it get
Let's
better
talk
than that?
about breaking the patterns that keep you broke, sick, and in toxic relationships.
Yes. How's it fucking get better than that? Um, yeah, I am actually. I got a little break. I have some stuff coming up in the holidays. I'm doing 50% off on SOP sessions starting Thanksgiving Day to New Year's Day.
Buck one
Fif-
or
50% off.
four.
50% off. And if you want to have packages, I can work that deal out too. But I decided that I want to work more with bodies. I love bodies. They're beautiful.
Speaking of bodies, go get your bars run, friends.
Yes. If you don't know somebody, hit me up and I'll connect you with some beautiful people that do wonderful bar presentation.
Same, same.
Okay. Peace.
Bye,
See y'all
friends.
later.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It's not a recording.